I'm Mike Tholfsen. I work on the Microsoft Education Product team. We have a bunch of other Microsoft product managers on the call today with you, and we're excited to share what's new in EDU. And this is our second in a monthly series that we've started up, just to share the latest updates, take your questions, and let you know what's going on with Microsoft Education. So here's the agenda, and we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Leif, and he's going to be showing us all the latest Teams EDU stuff. And so, Leif, I'm going to let you take it away.
Let's kick it off. The first thing we'll talk about is support for Jupyter notebooks and Python files. So if you have people who are computer science or data science people in your school, this is a great functionality right now for teachers to upload and share and distribute your Python and Jupyter notebook files for students and teachers to directly do coding in the browser, and for teachers to actually grade the features for Python and notebooks directly in the browser as well. So it should be a huge time savings. It's great to have that functionality directly in Teams. I'll do a quick demo of that functionality. So in this case, I'm a teacher. I'm going to create an assignment, and the assignment is going to include a Python file. And the way we implement this is you just add a file from your existing file. So I have my files in OneDrive. I'm going to keep my file about loops here. And this is a regular Python file. And the Python file can then now be choose to be distributed in a read-only mode. You can execute it, or you can have the students distribute. So this is a great way for teachers to distribute all these coding files to all the students in the class. Now, if a teacher or a student clicks on this file, it will open up in the Notebook Azure renderer. And so this is a executable file that you can actually do real coding directly in the UI. You get all the IntelliSense directly in the code as well, and you can run and execute those things directly. So let's assume right now I can actually just share this document with my students. This is a document to understand loops, and the students will fill in their code and have a run it to execute to see if they pass all the tests. So let me just switch to my student view. I'm now, as a student, I'm opening up that loop stuff. I have done my coding a little bit. I can add my set of functions here and for loops, and I can run the code. So this is actually running the code directly in the browser inside for itself. We go through all the tests I created, and it will check, and it will say if I passed all the correct stuff. And hopefully the output of this code will be all tests passed. So this basically is built-in Python rendering and executable in the browser. As I said, there's two parts of this feature. One is Python file, which is the most popular. We also add support for Jupyter Notebooks. So Jupyter Notebooks is basically a place you can combine prose and code together in one place. So you can add text for the students to use, and then the students can put in code and execute code directly in the browser as well. So in this case, a simple example, here is a document for introduction to Python, all the kind of text that the person will use, and I can add in code directly. So let's say I want to choose how to run this mathematical operation. This is just a simple example. I can run this code, run the coder, and it's test directly in the system. So the cool thing about this is all this data is now stored directly in the file, and then the student turns into teacher for use afterwards and grade directly in the browser as well. So that's kind of Python and Jupyter Notebook support directly in browser. So great thing for people using STEAM, computer science, and data science as well. In the blog post that we are sharing afterwards, there's a link to a more detailed explanation how to use the additional features in Jupyter Notebooks as well. The other thing we'll talk about today is rubrics in insights. So we are added a set of new features for insights and more powerful reporting for assignments. So as in before, this has been things like average grade, letter submission, so forth, basically are in the system. And now we added the ability for us to also show rubrics. So if you use rubrics in your assignments, we'll now visualize those things in insights, so you can compare different assignments over time and see how the class is doing across the different criteria in your rubric as well. So all the things are available directly today. The other things to talk about today is we're adding a set of new Reflect features. The first thing is highly requested features for Reflect, which is about how to simplify the language. So out of the box, Reflect comes with about 50 different words that people can use to express their feelings. That might be too much for a certain set of users, especially younger kids. So there's now the ability to actually minimize them to be just smaller set of users. So less choices, but more helpful to be expression as well. We also added the ability, which is great for me, to add the breathing exercise directly in Reflect. So it gives time and pause for the students to showcase the work and nice, pleasing sound, giving the monster breathing this. It's a nice way to get some space for the students as well. And a couple more things to Reflect. We're adding small check-in ideas for people to get automatically started with Reflect, automatically data for you, as well as ability for us to do repeat check-ins to make it just quicker for yourself. Maybe once a day, once a week to do this check-ins, just more efficient for you as well. Switching from Reflect into Meetings. So we're adding a couple of new features for Meetings in this month as well. The first thing is the ability is a new accessibility pane for us. And this accessibility pane are showing certain things like always caption, as well as the questions in the thing about captions in here as well. So this allows us to always show captions in my meetings. It also added functionality for sign languages. So right now you have the ability to do a focus mode for speakers, like myself speaking right now. You will also have the ability to have a sign language interpreter directly focused as well. So this new feature allows us to have a direct sign language interpreter directly in the meeting as well. So combining both the focus feature as well as the sign language features is much more focus for that person. Speaking of chat in this case, the other thing we're doing as well for chat is the ability to do schedule chat in the future. So imagine you're a teacher, you want to set up a contact your student, but you don't want to do it at in the evening because you're working in the evening, but you just want to set up in the morning when the student goes back to school again. So now you can add ability to schedule a time for that chat. Also, which is awesome to see, we used to have like 4 or 5 reactions for any chat stuff. We are now open a whole gambit of emojis to give kind of richer feedback to any chat and comments and channels. And then you have the ability to do a delete chat as well. So right now the chat will be kind of never ending, but now you have the ability to actually delete chats from your list. So you can have more focused lists that you. And last but not least, today, kind of a time saver for us is to add additional people to your chat by just using the @ mention. So they have to go click on the add members. This is just a quick way to add those members into your chat as well. So with that, I'm going to go to TJ. We're going to talk about our LTI updates.
Cool, thanks, Leif. I want to review really quickly a new feature that's coming very soon. So on the 15th of January, we're going to be releasing some new functionality with the Teams Meetings LTI, and that is quick access to captions and transcripts for past meetings. So I'm going to take over the screen here for a second and show you that live in the Canvas LMS. If folks aren't familiar with what our LTIs are and what they do, LTI stands for Learning Tools Interoperability. It's kind of the de facto standard for doing mashups in an LMS environment. So we've built Microsoft LTIs for Teams, Teams meetings, Teams classes, for collaboration, and OneDrive that bring those experiences into your LMS. Canvas, Blackboard, Schoology, D2L, Moodle, any LMS that supports LTI can work with. Those are the ones we work with today. And I'll put a link in the chat in a bit, for where to find documentation on bringing these into your environment. What I'm showing here is the Teams Meetings LTI. This is a nice kind of agenda view, very focused on educational meetings that your teachers or students have scheduled through the tool in the LMS. Here I'm showing a past meeting that has recording and transcript available. If I go back a day here, I'll have even more, that were recorded and have this available. And this gives you one-click access to those recordings right there in the browser to get to that the stream player. These meetings, by the way, that are showing up on this calendar, I said they were focused to the LMS and to your educational scenarios. If I look at my calendar here as Mr. Meyer, I'm seeing these meetings that were here. So these meetings are the ones that were scheduled via the LTI. They show in this LTI view. They also show on my Outlook and Teams calendar. But any other meetings that I put on my calendar, not through the LTI, do not show in the LTI and clutter up that interface for you or your students. So that's that feature that's coming out again, the 15th of January. That'll start rolling to production for the Teams LTI. So if you already have it installed, you should see it. If not, something great to go and try. I'm coming up here to a copy of Blackboard really quickly. I want to show you kind of, how Teams meetings and Teams classes LTIs work together. So here's the Teams meetings and Teams classes LTI in Blackboard. I'm going to bring up, Teams classes first. Teams classes allows you to link. Blackboard has a facility and Canvas has a facility and integration to create a team for an instructor to pair it or link it to the Blackboard or Canvas course. This is that LTI where we see that we have a linked team. I can, I'm surfacing the notifications here. There's a notification waiting for me in that team. That's right inside the LMS I'm seeing here. I'm able to send chat, even with some rich icons here, right from the LMS without leaving. And of course, I can pop out to that team to collaborate if I want to immerse. And then one other thing that lights up in the meetings experience, how these things work together, is if you have a team linked with the course, the LMS course like that, you're seeing here that in my meeting, when I go, there's an existing one, but I'll go into the schedule new one. I have all the things you'd expect here to quickly schedule a meeting. I also have this nice button for add entire class that'll pull my roster in, from the LMS right there to the meeting. Or I can do a channel meeting and I can select the channel from that paired team for an engineering one-on-one and hold a channel meeting, which has a lot of power in terms of keeping those assets together from that meeting. So just wanted to take you through that really quickly and introduce that new feature again. That'll start rolling on the 15th of January here to have that transcript and meetings one-click access right on these tiles in your Teams Meetings LTI, as well as, of course, join and edit meetings, IO, etc. Everything there. One more quick thing I'll show you is these meetings actually go to your OneDrive. So those meetings are in this recordings folder here in OneDrive. You see that comes up right away for me here. And as I go into these recordings, I can also use these through the OneDrive LTI to link into assignments or announcements or other things. And I actually have some insights here, even just hovering over it, how many views, etc. So back over to you, Mike.
I'm going to be talking a little bit about Windows and showing some things for the Windows. It's a fancy 22H2, meaning the second half of the year 2022, and some of the accessibility features. These just came out in the last, 3 or 4 months. So there's a free update for Windows 11. And I'm just going to share my screen and show some of these capabilities and talk about them as well. Give me just a second here. So the first thing to note is if I go in Windows settings on Windows 11 and go to accessibility, it's been laid out in a really nice way. So you can see vision, hearing, interaction. And my favorite new feature are the live captions that are built into Windows 11. That means for any video or any audio or any stream coming in where there's words being spoken, I can turn on captioning on Windows. So I went into captions here, and on live captions, I'm going to turn this to on. So this little dialog pops up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a video here that I've already had. There's no captions on this video, and I'm just going to hit play.
Like, oh, I'm just a bad reader. I don't like to read.
I don't have to worry about other people just looking at me and staring.
You can see that those captions are coming out in real time based on that video. And I can position this, if I want to put it at the bottom, you can see it here. I can move it to the top. I can even change the caption style. So in this case, maybe I want to make the caption style to be yellow on blue. And you can see up here, you can even test out how that's going to look. So really easy to have customized live captions on any audio content. So that's really powerful. The other nice one is a new capability to be able to turn all notifications on or off. And if I click in the lower right, down here in the lower right, you're going to see I've got this little do not disturb is turned on because I'm presenting right now. But if you want to turn do not disturb to silence all your notifications, you just go and click this little Z button to turn it on. And now you're only going to get very specific high priority notifications. So that's great for focus and attention. Another one you can do, I'm going to start over here. You can do this focus session. So let's say I want to work on a document and turn all the notifications off. If I click on focus, you're going to get this whole focus area. And you can see here, you can set a timer. So I'm going to focus for 20 minutes. You can even add some tasks, finish my TPS report for any Office Space fans out there. You can even turn on Spotify so you can have music going. But when it's in focus mode, you can really focus on exactly what you're working on, and it kind of turns off all the distractions. So those are a couple of the new updates in Windows 11. The other thing I'm going to show are, and there's a lot of OneNote fans out there, there's some big improvements to the desktop version of OneNote. And we're trying to make it really look and feel like the Windows 11 app, including the user interface. So a lot of you have told us, I want my OneNote desktop to look just like the web version and the Mac version, and desktop looks funny. The pages are on the right, there's sections on the top. Well, this is just rolling out right now, early rollout. There's on the view menu here, there's this new tabs layout. And if I choose this, watch what happens. I'm going to choose vertical tabs, boom. Pages go to the left, tabs go away. Now it looks just like all the other versions of OneNote. So you can kind of choose, do you want horizontal tabs or do you want vertical tabs? So you can switch back and forth. And so that's a great one. We've also added ink replay into OneNote Desktop, similar to Windows 10. So if I go to the Draw tab and click ink replay, it's going to play back the ink that I just did. And I can go forwards and backwards. This is really great, especially for math teachers. And then the last one we have in OneNote Desktop, I'm going to pop back into the presentation. I'm going to show a little sort of a pre-prepared video that I have showing ink transcription in OneNote. So this is something that is very similar to the audio recording and how we, as you're typing and audio recording, you can go and see exactly where you were taking notes. What I'm going to show here with this desktop transcription, I'm just going to play this video. But essentially, if you go and there's a new option under this transcribe here, you're going to say transcribe and you say transcribe audio. So I'm going to hit that right here. And as you're inking and recording audio, it keeps track. And you can play it forwards and backwards, and it's all linked. And then you can even insert the entire transcription onto the page. So I could be recording a lecture, taking inking notes, and as those notes are being recorded, they're linked to the audio. And then the entire transcription, when I'm done, I can insert that onto the page. So really powerful, inclusive technology, but also just useful technology for any student to use. So that is rolling out right now in OneNote Desktop. The other nice one, I'm not going to demo, but I'll just mention, is that in the Edge browser, we already have the immersive reader. What we have now is that you can add I'm going to highlight here, a read colon in front of any URL. So a blog entry, a news article. If you add a read colon in front of the HTTPS blah, 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 it'll turn that immersive reader on for the entire page. So what that means is you can also, once you have that whole URL in the Edge browser, you can copy that link and send it to anyone or embed it somewhere. And if they're using the Edge browser, when they click that link or open the link, it'll open it in immersive reader mode automatically. So it's great for people who want to add that to any page, but it's also good for sending them around to other people. So that's fully rolled out in the Edge browser right now. And with that, what I'm going to do is hand it off to Emma Gray, who works on our PM team in Vancouver. And Emma is going to take us home with the last parts of the demo and presentation. So it's over to you, Emma.
Why, thank you, Mike, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm going to go through a couple of things, some new creative tools that we're excited to show you. But before that, some new updates to Forms. First, we have images in forms option questions. So what that means is that when you put a multiple choice question in a form now, you can attach an image to associate with each choice. And this isn't just an image from your computer, it could be off of your OneDrive. And we also have a sidebar with a little Bing search engine that'll pull up images from there as well. So you don't even need to have your images prepared in advance. You can just attach them straight to your questions. Super easy, another exciting way to put together things in forms. Okay, there's a new sharing experience in forms. That means that instead of there being multiple pages, now it's all in one. It's a lot easier now to see exactly which sharing options you have and what it is that you're going to be sharing and to whom. So that's been refined. Really excited to see what people think of that. And also we have a new layout for the template gallery. So I'll share my screen just to show you what this one looks like. All right, so I'm on forms.office.com and I've got my template gallery open. And you can see this looks kind of new. We have trending templates, so ones that potentially other educators are using if I'm logged in as a teacher. And also exploring our templates by category. So this is a really easy way to just pick one that fits the format of what you're looking to do. And this is with the goal to save you time and just give you a creative starting point for any work that you need to do. So say I'm a school principal and I want to put together a teacher feedback survey. Well, there's already a template for that, so I'm going to open that up. We're familiar with this. But now that it's here, there's something else that I wanted to show you, and that's the new live themes in Forms. So if you look here, we can see that beyond just some regular theme ideas, we've got some that are moving, which is another fun way to add some creative expression to the forms that you're sending out every day. So now instead of a static background, we have this wonderful picture of students drawing in the background. We can preview that. And now in about 15 seconds, you saw what I've done. I've put together this teacher feedback survey. It's so easy. It was easy to find. It was fun to customize, and that makes it very straightforward to share with my staff. I also obviously have the option to edit this template to my heart's desire, and so that's an option too. I put together a couple of other ones just for examples. We've got winter break activities, where if we hit our preview, the snow will start to fall, and a math quiz as well with some exciting equations coming to fly at us in the screen. Maybe a bit distracting for an educational context, but hey, it's a fun way to express how this works. Next up, we have create.microsoft.com. This is a website that anyone can access, and it's a really good way to fast track your creation of anything that you might need in an academic context or in general. So say that we want to put together a schedule for a field trip. I'm going to look up schedule, and you'll see all of these different schedule options pre-populated. Most of these are Excel documents, but some of them are in Word. Depending on what you look up, you might also find PowerPoint templates, and all of these are free and easy to find. So you can see here, if I searched invitation, Word, PowerPoint documents that are all editable that can fast track my creation of these documents. One more example, lesson plans, same kind of thing. We've got all sorts of different lesson plans to pick from here that I can open in Office and edit to my heart's content. Now, finally, you might have heard of this one already, but this has been all of the craze on Twitter. And Mike has been known to hand out a couple of golden tickets to this one because it's only in private preview. This won't be accessible to everybody yet, but we're hoping that in the future, or we know that in the future that it will be. But here is your sneak preview of Microsoft Designer. Now, I'm going to try this with the chat, and we did this morning to great success. Could someone please send me an event, something they might announce at school, or a deadline, or a milestone for your educators or students or teachers? What's a situation where you'd have to make or announce something new? I'll give you a couple of seconds to drop that in the chat. We are going to put Designer on the spot. I'm seeing Sam has shared graduation event. That's a great idea. Let's talk about graduation. Graduation is coming, and I'll add a subheader. Make sure you sign up. Walk the stage. Awesome. All right, so it's already thinking based on the title about what it's going to show us. And look, we already have some really wonderful little designs and images here. All of these are going to be editable for me in terms of, graphics that I can add to my newsletters or my social media posts. But maybe this isn't enough. Maybe I want a very specific picture. Maybe I should use our AI assistant to create a sunset painting of a graduating class. Let's see. And look, it even has some suggestions here. Let's go in the style of Vincent van Gogh, extemporaneous. I don't know if I know that word. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Thinking, and there we are. Oh, look at that. We said Van Gogh, it thought sunflowers. Let's choose this one. We have a graduating class. There we are. And this one looks excellent for my social media post. I can customize the design. And here's the auto-generated image. It's a painting of students walking in line graduating. And that just made it so much easier for me to put these posts together. A couple of other examples, an end of semester with students tossing papers up into the air, and a field trip off to a dinosaur museum. The opportunities are endless, and we're really excited to see what you do with these projects. Back to you, Mike.
Great, thanks, Emma. I love the real-time collation of ideas and then turning them into fun stuff. The graduation Van Gogh style is pretty cool. Okay, let me jump back, and we're going to wrap things up with some Q&A, and we have some pre-submitted questions, and then also, if you haven't already gone to the Q&A tab, definitely, I see a couple new questions there too. So we'll try, and if some of the other PMs on the call can maybe answer a couple of those in real time if you haven't already, I'll try to answer some of the ones on the screen. So the first one is, are parents able to view assignments in Teams in real time? And so currently you can't. The good news is that we're working on something that we've announced. It's in private preview called School Connection, which is going to allow parents to see a real-time view of their students' assignments and grades and progress. It'll be both in a website as well as a mobile web app. And that's going to be rolling out more broadly later in spring and into the summer. So we're actively working on it, and it's coming soon is the way to think about it. The next one is about OneNote. We've heard great things about OneNote in the last webinar. There's a mention of in-app invitations for Windows 10, meaning if I'm using the OneNote Windows 10 app, there's going to be a little pop-up that says, hey, do you want to try OneNote Desktop? That's probably going to be coming in late spring or summer of 2023. Now that we've added so many new capabilities into OneNote Desktop, I showed some of them today. I've shown others in different webinars, but the OneNote Desktop's been getting a lot of updates, so the in-app invitations are coming soon. The next question is about creating multiple class notebooks in a Teams site for faculty collaboration and sort of working on things. Unfortunately, right now we don't support multiple class notebooks in a Teams site easily. There's some technical reasons that make that difficult. You can do in-staff collaboration on other teams, like a PLC team or a generic team, and you can move a lot of that content into class notebooks. So you could have a bunch of teachers or curriculum instruction folks working together on a OneNote notebook, and people could pull pieces of it, but we don't allow multiple class notebooks in one team right now. We're also thinking about some future things on how to make that whole process easier, but we're not going to be able to talk about those today. And the last question that was submitted, with the changes in Stream to SharePoint, and I talked about that last webinar, will our videos in the classic version still be accessible? And yes, the answer is yes. The Stream Classic is going to be available, I think, until fall, late fall, 9 or 10 months. And so right now, the only way to get the new Stream on SharePoint is if the IT admin switches you over. And so if the IT admin doesn't switch you over, that's going to stay as is for another 9 or 10 months. And then there's going to be, I would call a forced migration towards the end of the year. So you do have time. And as we're wrapping up, just to make sure people know, if you want to vote on features, feature requests across all the different products, there's a whole lot of links here you can go into. And I'm going to be making a link to this deck available in just a moment. There's also links to our new blogs. We just had a big new blog that came out yesterday on the latest Teams features. There's some other blogs from OneNote and other places. And then I have a YouTube channel where I go into much more detail than we had time today on some of the newer features across, whether it's Teams or assignments, OneNote forms, etc. Links to those videos are also in this deck. And if you want to share this deck with other people in your school or district or even parents, there's a link here. So feel free to snap a picture or grab this link, QR code. And then we're also going to post this video on YouTube early next week, so you can point people to that and they can view it as well.